The placement of this mace by our President, Dr. James A. Zimble, Vice Admiral, Medical Corps, United States Navy, retired, opens the 24th commencement of the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. This ceremony is a culmination of graduate study in which each of our students has learned to care for those in harm's way, whether it is on the battlefield or in our homeland. Let us be reminded on this special day that this graduation ceremony in a tent is symbolic of the combat hospital shelter that has provided space for our graduates as they care for all wounded, regardless of nationality, during Operation Iraqi Freedom. Many of our students and graduates have family members currently serving in military operations throughout the world and can't be with us on this special day. Our thoughts and prayers are with them. Good morning, Dr. Winkenwerder, honored guests, members of the Board of Regents, flag and general officers, faculty, staff, and graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the commencement ceremony of the Uniformed Services University class of 2003. Will you please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the University Brigade Color Guard and for the playing of the national anthem by the President's own, the United States Marine Band, under the direction of Master Sergeant Thomas Cole, Drum Major. Please feel free to join in and sing the national anthem. Advance the colors.
Stand by. Colors. Attend to. Show up. Who? Ready? Cut. Forward. Who?
Retire the colors. The university's chaplain, Lieutenant Commander Jerry Waddell, United States Navy, will deliver the invocation.
Before our invocation, I would like to invite you to join me in a moment of silence as we reflect upon the military efforts of our military personnel who stand in harm's way at this very moment, and those who have made the ultimate sacrifice that we might live in a land of freedom and prosperity. Please join me in silence. Dear God, it is with joy and elation that we gather this day to recognize the efforts and dedication of the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences graduating class of 2003. This day, O Lord, we pause in a prayer of gratefulness. Gratefulness for those who teach and those who learn, for those who encourage and those who are inspired to even higher levels of excellence, for those who lift up the vision of medicine and those who respond through academic achievement. From you, O Lord, they all deserve that spiritual accolade, well done, good and faithful servants. In our joys and elations, Father, let us not forget, however, how easy it is to be absorbed in all that we are and all that we do. It is so easy to be involved in the receipt of our daily gifts that we sometimes forget you, the giver. Dear God, you are the giver of all that we are and all that we have, and for that reason we stop right now to offer you our thanks. Lord, now bless this time-honored tradition in which well-earned degrees are awarded to well-deserving students. Bless them all, we pray, in your holy name. Amen.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremony, Dr. Michael Sheridan, Professor Emeritus.
I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the University Brigade's Color Guard and the United States Marine Band. Today's ceremony is a formal recognition of personal achievement. In addition to our student graduates, the university will honor a number of individuals who, through their personal accomplishments, have contributed significantly to medicine and education in this country. These awards are described in detail in your programs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to present Dr. James A. Zimble, President of the Uniformed Services University.
Welcome, members of the F. Edward A. Bayard School of Medicine and Graduate School of Nursing, classes 2003. The weather has dampened the ground and the grass, but it certainly hasn't dampened the spirits of the class of 2003. Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs, Dr. Winkenwerder, distinguished guests, flag and general officers, faculty, families, and friends, today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our guest speaker for the class of 2003, Vice Admiral Richard Carmona, United States Public Health Service Surgeon General of the United States. Vice Admiral Carmona has been invited by the graduates to give the commencement address. You'll find his biography on page 8 of your program.
Good morning. Jim, thank you for that kind introduction. It's an honor to be here today to recognize the 2003 Army, Navy, Air Force, U.S. Public Health Service, and civilian graduates of the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. This is a day that you will remember for the rest of your lives. But while you will remember this day for the rest of your lives, you may not remember this speech. In fact, At most, you will remember one thing from any speech you hear. Many of you will remember nothing. If you doubt me, just ask your parents what their commencement speeches were like or who gave those speeches. If they can't remember the context, ask them who the commencement speaker was. Chances are they may not remember that either. So the cardinal rule of commencement speeches is shorter the better. In the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you some of the experiences I've had which have helped shape my perspective on medicine and on life and the values by which I live. But before I start, I'd like to quote one of the last century's great leaders, Winston Churchill. Churchill was known as a great orator, member of Parliament, and for many years before becoming Prime Minister. In short, he gave a lot of speeches, but perhaps one of the best speeches he ever gave was to the students at his high school alma mater. It was also very short, about 5 minutes. Concluding his speech, describing what Britain had been through and what was to come during the World War II, he said, never give in, never, 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 in nothing great or small, large or petty, never give in, except to convictions of honor and good sense." At that point, much to the surprise of the audience, he sat down. I'm not going to sit down yet. I've got a couple of minutes left. I'll need a little longer than that 5 minutes. As a former professor, I cannot resist the opportunity to speak on this important occasion, if you'll indulge in me for just those few minutes. Some comments on the future of medicine. For those of you who don't know me, admittedly, I'm a recovering surgeon and a recovering professor. I say that because I strongly believe, and many of the surgeons here may agree, that at times surgery can be considered quite a barbaric process, especially in light of the new scientific knowledge that is rapidly evolving, that all of the graduates here are involved in. If a patient has an injured or diseased organ or a cancer growing in a body, what do surgeons do? Most often, more than not, we do some surgical procedure, open the patient up, remove an organ or remove a tumor, clamp off bleeding, all while subjecting the body to additional trauma, shock, and the possibility of infection. Conversely, the oncologist may give poisons that kill the cancer cells but may also destroy healthy tissue. But thanks to biomedical research and the great imaginations of scientists in the academic, private, and federal laboratories, treatments are being developed that will make some surgery a thing of the past. This research really is the future of medicine. We are already beginning to screen genetic information and target appropriate interventions to help people avoid physical and mental conditions and diseases years before their symptoms would have otherwise appeared. Future USU students may cringe in horror at the tactics that we use today in our attempts to save a human life. Because someday, simply by altering the genotype of a host, an organ will resist disease or heal itself. In fact, genomics, proteomics, and all of the biomedicine are building hope from the smallest cells and biochemical structure. Scientists have finished mapping the human genome's 3 billion chemical letters. This work will have untold benefits throughout the history of man. Already, they have identified susceptibility genes for many disease states, including prostate cancer. Scientists have developed new DNA microarray technologies that make it possible for physicians to accurately diagnose the specific cause of some diseases, such as breast cancer, enabling them to treat the disease better. It's an exciting future, and many of you graduating today will help create it. All of you will participate in it. But as breathtaking as the possibilities are for the future of medicine, its practice will still rely on timeless values like experience and integrity. You have been through a tough, competitive, intense education here at USUS. You are preparing to enter one of the most demanding professions in all of society. But as much as you've learned here, I believe you will discover, as I have, that the lessons that will serve you best in life are those where you learn what Churchill called convictions of honor and good sense, or values. There are several convictions of honor and good sense that I've learned over a lifetime that I'd like to share with you today. First, the value of compassion. The first is people are most important. Your family, your colleagues, and your patients are much more important than your medical degree or professional advancement, and they are critical to your success. As Thomas Merton said, "My successes are not my own. The way to them was prepared by others. Therefore, the meaning of my life is not to be looked for merely in the sum total of my own achievements. It is seen only in the complete integration of my achievements and failures with the achievements and failures of my own generation, society, and time." Starting from the beginning, and I'm sure you've learned this already, respecting your family, your elders, your grandparents, Because I know as I've gone through life, some of the most important lessons I learned were from my grandmother, who spoke no English and was about 100 pounds soaking wet, but had the greatest integrity and passion for life that I've ever seen. And she was an immigrant to this country. The people here with you today, your parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles, have watched you grow up and advance through your education. They've been with you through good and bad and will continue to be with you on the next steps of your journey. Be grateful, thank them, and make the most of the opportunities you have to collaborate with other professionals. You never know how far they may take you. When I was a young medical student at the University of California, San Francisco, I had two young virology, microbiology professors, fresh out of their training. And in the class, they would always digress to what was then science fiction to most of us who sat in the class, about virology, about diseases that we had never heard of. But several years later, after leaving that school and still keeping in contact with them, I was pleased to see that Dr. Harold Varmus and Dr. Mike Bishop won the Nobel Prize for their work. Yet to us in the class, it was science fiction. As a young student, I was always eager to learn and came across a biochemistry professor who also was quite eclectic. And the classes he taught us in biochemistry, often in freshman biochemistry in medical school, digressed to his own scientific exploits. Most of us did not understand what he was talking about when he said, nearly 25 years ago, that there was this thing called bioengineering he was working on. He was going to splice genes and move them around and be able to make some fantastic changes in the future. He felt stymied for a while in his academic environment and went out and started a company while he was a professor at the university. He started a small company in his home in South San Francisco called Genentech. That was Professor Herb Boyer, who really was one of the founders of what we see today, people who crossed my life many years before. As a young resident at the University of California, taking night call at San Francisco General Hospital in the Trauma Center, I shared call many nights with a young lady who our paths crossed frequently over the next few years, then didn't see her for many years, and now I get to work with that young lady every day because it's Dr. Julie Gerberding, the head of the CDC. So you never know where these paths cross and where they may take you. At that time, who knew? Whatever your chosen field of medicine, always remember that you are practicing public health. There is no medical endeavor, whether research or clinical practice or administration, that does not touch people. Everything you do will have an impact on someone and likely on many people. Never take for granted the rare privilege and the enormous responsibility that you have as a healthcare professional, whether you're in research, whether you're a clinician, or in administration. Your work will touch the lives of many. It is one of the greatest possible privileges, helping other people, getting closer to them, even than some of the members of their family. Some points on flexibility. The next value I would like to speak about is flexibility. Make the most of it in any and all of your experiences. As many of you know, I have the distinction as Surgeon General of being probably the only Surgeon General that's a high school dropout. My career progression is anything but a circuitous route, and if it were not for the Army giving me an opportunity as a 17-year-old high school dropout to get an education, I wouldn't be here today. I've been a Special Forces medic, a registered nurse, a paramedic, a trauma surgeon, a police officer, a professor. I've taught in all of those areas, and a public health officer, as well as a CEO of a health system. I've also been a poor street kid who had difficulty accessing care. What I now know is called healthcare disparities. I was one of those. All of these experiences have made me who I am today and have readied me for the position to which President Bush and Health and Human Services Secretary Tommy Thompson have called me to serve, that of the United States Surgeon General. They chose me, someone with the military experience, for this job because the world we're in demands a military mindset from the nation's top doctor. The new threats we face, weapons of mass destruction that can immediately cause huge amount of problem, civilian casualties, means we now need to combine the disciplines of medicine and law enforcement and the military in ways that we never thought of before. My family and friends used to think that I was crazy, taking on so many different types of careers throughout my life, but all those careers prepared me to serve as Surgeon General. I've stayed in touch with all those professional communities. I've had the privilege of serving with the military, the medical researchers, the cops, the paramedics, the nurses, students, and professors. I never let go of my connections to those people and the previous jobs because they were all so important to me. There didn't seem to be much of a correlation between these jobs as I moved up the proverbial food chain, but I cherished all of those relationships. But then this job came along, ironic, because I couldn't have planned it better if I tried. Little did I know I've been training for this job my whole life. I truly believe that all my disparate experiences have made me the right person at the right time for this job. But I couldn't have been successful if it wasn't for the values that were instilled in me as a young soldier in the Army, where I learned about duty and honor and integrity and dedication and mission and focus, allocating resources, and basically developing a mindset through the Army and then Special Forces that you can accomplish any mission if you're willing to allocate the appropriate amount of time and resources and dedication to that mission. Starting in the military, I learned about those convictions of honor, as I said, and they have served me very well throughout my life. As a 19, 20-year-old Special Forces medic, I saw more firsthand than many physicians ever do. In Vietnam, I treated tropical diseases and trauma wounds. I delivered babies for the first time at age 19 in a rice paddy in a village called Bateau in Southeast Asia to a mountain yard lady, and it was a set of twins. I was wounded in combat a couple of times, and as many of you know, a real-life firefight isn't like TV where you know exactly what happens next. And the good guys don't always walk away alive. I lost some of my best friends in combat, good people who would have done great things if they hadn't lost their lives defending their country. In 1 year, I matured a decade, and I received the preparation of a lifetime for a career in medicine. Some of the best relationships I've ever made in my life was with my Special Forces team. In fact, every one of my 4 children's godparents are Special Forces operators. Through preparation, you will avoid costly mistakes. A close relative of preparation is prevention. And again, all of my experiences have allowed me to be prepared most of the time for what I encounter. Prevention is so much easier than cure. Of course, as America's doctor, I see that every day. So many of our illnesses, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, could be prevented with a good diet and moderate physical activity. 2 out of 3 American adults are overweight or obese, and it's entirely preventable. And it's not only my problem, it's all of our problem, because for those of us in uniform, this epidemic of childhood obesity, these are our recruits in the future. Something must be done about it. As a trauma surgeon, many experiences led me to believe in the value of prevention, because 3 or maybe 4 out of every 4 or 5 patients I admitted on a given night didn't have to be there. Violence, bad choices that day, drunk driving, people who made a series of bad choices their whole life. But when we talk about the disease burden we have in society today and the economic burden and the healthcare crisis, the real cure for that is prevention, eliminating that disease burden which is preventable, which is the majority of what we pay for. The lesson is applicable to all of our behavior, all of our actions. If we do what we should do from the beginning, we will avoid costly mistakes down the road. Make the right choices about your own health, exercise, eat right, and avoid the risky behaviors. Take this message to your family and friends, and we'll have a healthier future. In the next months and years, as I work to improve America's health and help get the public health system ready to face possible future terrorist attacks, I will make use of another conviction of honor and good sense I've learned, and that's perseverance. I believe with the right plan, I can accomplish any mission. That kind of confidence can't be taught, even at USUS. You have to live it. Even tough experiences will give you strength and confidence if you learn from them. In fact, I strongly believe you learn more from your failures than successes. In my life, I have failed many more times than I have succeeded. The only difference between success and failure is this: the successful person gets up one more time. So if you don't keep trying, you may miss the opportunity of a lifetime that may be just inches beyond your reach. Again, quoting Winston Churchill, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Finally, perhaps the most important lesson I've learned is character counts. In fact, you will find in the long run, that is how your life will be measured. The greatest currency you will ever possess is your reputation, which is character demonstrated over time. By committing to care for those in harm's way, you honor yourself, your families, and your country. You also honor all those who prepared the path for you, all those who came before you in pursuit of knowledge, and the commitment to caring for those in harm's way. One person can make a difference. I charge each of you to be that person. Think big, think outside the box, set your goal out of your apparent reach and your standards above reproach. Make a commitment to change the world. You can make a difference in the lives of your patients, their loved ones, and in the future of medicine. And remember, while medicine can be a financially rewarding career, once we are gone, whether you're a researcher, whether you're a nurse, whether you're a doctor, an administrator, it makes no difference on the discipline. But once you are gone, the titles, the wealth, they all vanish with us. Your legacy, the legacy you create, is simply your character outliving you. What better inheritance to leave the world, to leave it a better place? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3 recipients have been chosen to receive honorary degrees. Dr. Zimbel will present the Doctor of Military Medicine and Surgery, honoris causa, to Vice Admiral Richard Carmona. Dr. Zimbel.
Dr. Carmona, you have devoted your life to medicine, and by all accounts, you have done it in a most unconventional and totally effective way. You started your service to our nation in the Army prior to high school completion and rose with distinction to Surgeon General of the United States. Always thirsty for knowledge, you are certified not only as a trauma surgeon, but also as a paramedic and registered nurse. You are a medical educator and have earned and have served as a public health officer, hospital executive, and even as a fully qualified peace officer. Earlier in your career, you recognized the need for medical preparedness, and for 35 years, you've not only taught the theory, but demonstrated the concept. At a time that we are preparing the nation for homeland defense, you stand as the beacon of enlightenment in Renaissance medicine. You have shared your knowledge with our graduates and students on a regular basis. Your university now takes great pride in awarding you the degree of Doctor of Military Medicine and Surgery, honoris causa. That's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Dr. Carmona cannot stay for the completion of our ceremony. He is speaking at yet another graduation and must make travel connections. We again thank Dr. Carmona for his terrific commencement address. Thank you so much.
Dr. Zimbel will now present the Doctor of Military Medicine and Surgery, honoris causa, to Dr. John Manick. Dr. Manick's biography is on page 10 of your program. Dr. Manick, please step forward.
John Manick, physician, scholar, researcher, innovator, and friend. Your lifetime in the service to the cause of medicine and the plight of those in need of care has served as the very model of those qualities we seek to instill in our students as they embark upon their careers of service to our nation. You have the unique ability to formulate an innovative approach to a medical problem and then masterfully craft a solution that can be adopted on a global basis. You are a true friend of military medicine, having served on the visiting board to the Department of Surgery for over 20 years and having been president of the Uniformed Services University Surgical Associates. You've always given of your valuable time to ensure that those who follow you will be well prepared to do what is necessary to fulfill their solemn oath to help those in need. You've devoted countless hours to the development of this university, serving as consultant. You've devoted your life to medicine, your students and patients, and you have not one thought of self. Your university today, with great pride and enormous gratitude, recognizes you with our highest recognition, that of the degree of Military Medicine and Surgery, honoris causa.
Major Alfred Rascon, United States Army, was chosen to receive the Doctor of Medical Jurisprudence honoris causa. Major Rascon is currently deployed with the 82nd Medical Unit in Afghanistan and has asked us to extend his best wishes to all of our graduates. Major Rascon's biography and citation can be found on page 12 and 13 of your program. One recipient has been selected to receive the Carol J. Johns Medal. A description of the medal can be found in the front of your program. Mr. Everett Alvarez, Chair of the University's Board of Regents, and Lieutenant Colonel Greg Argyros, Faculty Senate President, will present the medals. The Carol J. Johns Medal is presented to Dr. Norman Rich, Leonard Heaton and David Packard Professor, Department of Surgery. Dr. Rich's biography can be found on page 14 of the program. Dr. Rich, please step forward.
Dr. Norman Rich, you were appointed Professor of Surgery at the F. Edward Aber School of Medicine in 1976 and became the first chairman of the Department of Surgery in 1977, a position you held for over 25 years. Over the years, you have earned international recognition for your work, lecturing in over 35 countries and publishing over 300 manuscripts and authoring 5 books. In 1999, you became the Leonard Heaton and David Packard Professor, named for 2 USU founders. Your many personal friendships with surgical leaders worldwide has brought much needed support for this university during many critical times, allowing USU to grow and flourish as a national treasure. On 11 October 2002, I announced the establishment of the Norman M. Rich Department of Surgery. On behalf of the Board of Regents and the USU faculty, it is my distinct pleasure to bestow upon you the Carol J. Johns Medal.
Dr. Zimbel will now present the Curare Award, named for the university's first president. A description of this award can be found in the front of your program. This year's recipient of the Curare Award is Dr. Robert Anderson. Dr. Anderson, would you step forward, please? Dr. Anderson, you have been a long-time supporter of this university and have given much of your own time and energy to advance the welfare of this institution. For 5 years, you have guided the preparation of the Board of Regents' most important product, its annual report to the Secretary of Defense. This report informs an audience not readily available to us of the unique contributions of this this university makes to the Department of Defense and to the nation. While your term on the board has concluded, you continue to make yourself available to President Zimbel for special projects in support of this university. Your 40 years of experience in medicine and academia and your continuing interest in the educational programs of this university reflect great credit upon yourself and your dedication to the principles of this institution. For this, and on behalf of the class of 2003, we are proud to honor you with the Curare Award.
Thank you very, very much. When I learned that I was to receive this award, I raced downstairs to ask my wife what she thought I might say. And she said, do you remember your graduation? I said, I certainly do. It was way too long. She said, that's my message to you. Day before yesterday, I asked Dr. Zimbel what I should say. He said, I don't care what you say as long as it's short. Last night I had dinner with one of your staff, Bobby Anderson. He said, what are you going to say? And I said, well, you'll have to come. But I said, it's 77 words. And he grimaced. And so I dropped 2 thes and a very, and I'm now down to 74 words. A well-known French philosopher said, there are 2 kinds of doors, doors in space and doors in time. And I would submit that each of you today is facing an open door. Don't hesitate to pass through the door. The door won't stay open forever. And in doing so, pass through it with courage and with confidence. Courage because you know that you are doing the right thing. Confidence because each and every one of you have received an absolutely outstanding education. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate this award and only say again, thank you very, very much.
We will now proceed to recognize the graduates of the university's Graduate School of Nursing. It's my privilege to introduce Dr. Patricia Hinton Walker, Dean of the Graduate School of Nursing, and Lieutenant Colonel Karen Gaussman, Commandant of the Graduate School of Nursing, will announce the awards.
On behalf of the Graduate School of Nursing, I am honored to present the Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for Family Nurse Practitioner Program.
A description of these awards can be found on page 2 in your program. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the Family Nurse Practitioner Program is presented to Captain Anthony Leonard, United States Army Nurse.
On behalf of the Graduate School of Nursing, I am honored to present the Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for Nurse Anesthesia Program.
The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the Nurse Anesthesia Program is presented to Lieutenant Victor Auld, United States Navy Nurse Corps. The Esprit de Corps Award recipient is selected by the members of the graduate nursing class to recognize one of their own. The individual selected is not listed in your program because, by tradition, it is kept secret until this moment. Captain Stacy Usher Wina, please come forward. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Uniform Faculty Award is presented to Major Lisa Tilley, United States Air Force Nurse Corps. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Civilian Faculty Award is presented to Dr. Bustos, Dr. Osvaldo Bustos.
On Dean Hinton Walker's behalf, I'd like to introduce Captain Stacy Usher Weena, Army Nurse, United States Army. Captain Weena will present the Graduate School of Nursing class farewell address.
Good morning. Members of the Board of Regents, Dr. Zimble, Dr. Walker, Dr. Laughlin, Surgeons Generals, distinguished guests, staff and faculty, graduates, friends and family, thank you for being here today to celebrate this momentous occasion. It is my honor as the Graduate School of Nursing Class of 2003 President to address you. Throughout history, uniformed nurses have earned the respect and gratitude of the American people. They continue to provide the best possible care while serving our country during times of war and of peace. Today, the role of the nurse in the uniformed services now includes aid during humanitarian missions and following acts of terrorism. The advanced practice nurse uses a comprehensive approach to the assessment, diagnosis, and management of patients. Certainly, those of you who have been hospitalized can attest to the value of not only the physical, but emotional and spiritual components of recovery. Nurses have recognized the tremendous impact of relatively simple measures to maintain health and prevent illness. Indeed, it was Florence Nightingale's advocacy for hand washing that prevented literally thousands of deaths during the Crimean War. The Graduate School of Nursing has been educating nurses at a master's level for 10 years as nurse practitioners and nurse anesthetists. Established in the late 1800s, nurse anesthesia was recognized as the first clinical nursing specialty. Presently, nurse anesthetists provide 65% of anesthesia care to 26 million patients in the United States each year. The nurse practitioner role is a mere 40 years old and has over 100,000 members. Certainly, this huge growth marks the recognition of nurse practitioners as experts in screening, health promotion, disease prevention, and management of patients with common and chronic healthcare needs. The nurse practitioner's approach to patient education has made them indispensable as a member of the modern healthcare team. Today's advanced practice nurses have built upon the solid foundation of those who have come before them. Both nurse anesthetists and nurse practitioners collaborate with physicians and other healthcare providers to meet the challenges in today's healthcare system. We are a nation facing new challenges. Economic demands and growing healthcare needs span all ages. Nursing will continue to have a significant role in addressing the healthcare issues of the future. Most importantly, the current nursing shortage affects the world. We must all come together to ensure the unique care nurses provide will be available. USU graduates recognize the importance of fiscal responsibility in healthcare, will ensure highest level of quality of care and access to that care. We are prepared to care for those in harm's way. To my fellow classmates, let us savor today. We have made it to this day with the support and encouragement of one another. Our memories to cherish include betting on predictable classroom actions of our fellow classmates, bread flying through the air during the dining in, unique personalities and stories of our faculty, and socials at rock bottom. We have grown as officers and nurses because of the diversity and richness of our experiences here at USU. To the medical students, it was great working with you in the military contingency medicine course and at the clinical sites. We developed broader leadership skills and appreciate the special contributions each of us makes in providing care. Now, for the former, current, and future students in the audience, I have a little pop quiz for y'all. Are you ready? When you take a multiple choice test, the best answer is always A, the longest one, B, the shortest one, because it is more concise and clearly written, C, the second to longest answer, or D, the second to shortest one because it's not too simple. And the answer will be posted in the back of the tent. But on a more serious note, the class of 2003 would like to thank our founding dean, Dr. Abdallah, and our current dean, Dr. Hinton Walker, for the vision, wisdom, and leadership that afforded us unparalleled advanced practice nursing education. We would like to recognize the faculty and staff for sharing their experience and your knowledge. Most importantly, we want to thank our friends and family for your unwavering support and encouragement throughout our stay at USU. Finally, we would like to acknowledge the men and women who have served and sacrificed their lives to ensure the liberties that we enjoy today. And we pray for the safe return of the troops currently deployed around the world. I would like to conclude with some advice from Mr. Baz Luhrmann. You might have heard this in the past. Get to know your parents. You never know when they'll be gone for good. Be nice to your sibling. They're the best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Understand that friends come and go, but with the precious few, you should hold on. Work hard to bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle, because the older you get, the more you need the people who knew you when you were young. Don't worry about the future, or worry, but knowing that worrying is as effective as trying to solve an algebra equation by chewing bubble gum. Thank you again for sharing on this special day with us, and best wishes to you and your families.
At this time, Dr. Hinton Walker will present the Graduate School of Nursing class of 2003. Mr. Alvarez will confer the degrees, and Dr. Winkenwerder will join Dr. Zimble on stage to congratulate the candidates.
Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty of the Graduate School of Nursing, I recommend to you the degree of Master of Science in Nursing be conferred on 24 individuals. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, Graduate School of Nursing, I hereby confer the degree of Master of Science in Nursing on 24 individuals. Will the candidates please come forward?
The following graduates are receiving the Master of Science in Nursing as nurse practitioners. Ilsa K. Allenbaugh, United States Army. Major Tammy Sue Barger, United States Army. Captain Barbara Ann Braden, United States Public Health Service. Major Joseph Martin Candelario, United States Army. Captain Wayne Edwin Darso, United States Army. Captain Lisa Renee Ford, United States Army. Captain Robert Lee Harold, United States Army. Captain Anthony George Leonard, United States Army. Captain Anne Marie Nabeck, United States Army. Captain Jana Janelle Ortiz, United States Army. Captain Patrick John Pullman, United States Army. Captain Stacy Usher Winna, United States Army. Major Michelle Morer Williams, United States Army. Captain Moriah Dawn Wendish, United States Army. The next group of graduates will receive the Master of Science in Nurse Anesthesia. Lieutenant Victor H. Auld, Jr., United States Navy. Captain Jamie Michael Chin, United States Air Force. Captain Jeffrey Milton Dax, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Victor Manuel Diaz, United States Navy. Captain Mark A. Dildy, United States Air Force. Captain Laura Lee Kuntz, United States Air Force. First Lieutenant Eric Allen Lang, United States Army. Captain Alan Eric Meekins, United States Air Force. Captain Martin Okert, United States Air Force. And Captain Scott Charles Rhodes, United States Air Force. A nice round of applause for all of these graduates. We will now proceed to recognize the graduates of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine. It's my pleasure to introduce the Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Larry W. Laughlin, Captain, United States Navy, retired.
The F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine graduate program is proud to announce the School of Medicine's Outstanding Biomedical Graduate Educator Award. A full description of the award may be found on page 3 of your program. The recipient of Each year during this ceremony, the university recognizes a School of Medicine graduate program student who has contributed to the university in meaningful ways. And it was with pleasure that I present the Uniformed Services University Graduate Student Award to Kimberly Burns, Neurosciences Program. The award description is found on page 4 of your program. Ms. Burns, welcome.
The Henry Jackson Foundation has generously provided a fellowship and travel support for 2 outstanding graduate students during this final year of their program of study at the university. We are pleased to acknowledge the participation of the Henry Jackson Foundation and appreciate its support of the School of Medicine's graduate education program. The recipients of this year's Foundation Fellowship are Kimberly Burns, who's presently on stage, the Neuroscience Program, and Kimberly Kalupa, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology. Ms. Kalupa, would you please stand to be recognized with Ms. Burns? Ladies and gentlemen, Major Thomas Saramuga, United States Army, will present the graduate student farewell address.
Hello, distinguished guests, deans and faculty, family and friends, and of course, relieved graduates. I feel privileged and proud to represent the graduates of various biomedical and public health graduate programs of the Uniformed Services University. First of all, I would like to express tremendous gratitude to God, to the United States of America, our university, the awesome devoted faculty and mentors, our circles of family and friends for their sacrifices, support, and this opportunity to succeed. I realize about probably 10 of you folks here are here to hear me speak, and those 10 consist of my girl and my family. So let me brag a little bit about the awesome achievements of 62 graduate students who have earned the right to walk this stage. Today, 18 doctorate degrees and 44 master's degrees will be awarded from graduate programs in the School of Medicine. These degrees were earned in a variety of scientific disciplines, including microbiology, medical psychology, molecular cell biology, preventive medicine, public health, and neuroscience. These graduates have persevered and endured a difficult, often hair-graying and wrinkle-producing academic and scientific journey that makes them experts in corners of vast scientific domains. A sampling of this expertise in your presence include breast cancer and heredity, laser treatment for nerve regeneration, nerve cell differentiation, brain protection, public health, protein degradation, tropical medicine, malaria, Ebola, and even mice with gonorrhea. Also in front of you are specialists in low-fat diets, stress and relaxation, anger management and hostility and heart disease, and schizophrenic animals. All of these graduates have contributed important and exciting scientific discoveries that have a unifying biomedical focus that directly or indirectly support the care of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and their family members, as echoes our university's mission statement of caring for those in harm's way. Today, as we enjoy our laurels and successes from our discoveries and our accomplishments that bring us here, now it is our responsibility as scientists, nurses, physicians, healthcare administration, scholars, husbands and wives, mothers and fathers, to use this gained knowledge and experience to serve our sisters and brothers and to make a difference, and we can change the globe. Thank you.
At this time, Dr. Cinda Helke, Associate Dean for Graduate Education, will present the graduates of Uniformed Services University's School of Medicine's graduate program. Mr. Alvarez will confer the degrees.
Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that one of the following master's degree, the Master of Public Health or the Master of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, be conferred on 39 individuals. Will the 35 candidates present today please stand?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, F. Edward Aber School of Medicine, I confer the degrees Master of Public Health and Master of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene with their attendant privileges and responsibilities. Will the candidates please come forward?
The following graduates will receive the degree Master of Public Health. Major David Bensel, United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel Sven Berg, United States Air Force. Captain Stacy Branch, United States Air Force. Captain Stephanie Buffett, United States Air Force. John Champagne. Captain Paul Simonera, United States Army. Dr. Claude Cowan. Captain Colleen Daniels, United States Army. Captain Mark Duffy, United States Air Force. Major Stephen Felt, United States Army. Major Jose Fonseca, United States Air Force. Major John Gibbons, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Commander Francis Hall, United States Navy. Major Christos Hatzigeorgiou, United States Army. Captain Sarah Bro Hines, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Suzanne Holtzclaw, United States Navy. Major Kenneth Jacobson, United States Army. Captain John Jacobson, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Monica Cuny, United States Public Health Service. Lieutenant Gregory Langham, United States Public Health Service. Commander Joanne Adamski-Leal, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Stephen Mattis, United States Navy. Captain Nancy Merrill, United States Army. Captain Amy Milliken, United States Army. Captain Natalie Moy, Canadian Forces. Major Vincent Moore, United States Army. Wrong one? I'm sorry, that was Major Brian Mulhall, United States Army. There seemed to be something out of order here. Lieutenant Colonel Stephen Phillips, United States Army, Health Services Administration. Lieutenant Commander Paul Seaman, United States Navy. Captain Terry Shelton, United States Army. Captain Kari Stone, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Commander Jeffrey Jaden, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Sharon White, United States Public Health Service. Major Kurt Winger, United States Air Force. The next graduate will receive the degree Master of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene. Lieutenant Commander Thomas Luke, United States Navy. Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that one of the doctoral degrees, Doctor of Public Health or Doctor of Philosophy, be conferred on 18 individuals. Will the 11 candidates present today please stand?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university, by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and Dean, F. Edward Aber School of Medicine, I confer the degree Doctor of Public Health and Doctor of Philosophy with their attendant privileges and responsibilities. Will the candidates please come forward?
following graduates will receive the Doctor of Public Health degree. Shilpa Hakre, Doctor of Public Health. Nilufar Neeli Kazaruni, Doctor of Public Health. Stephanie Scoville, Doctor of Public Health. The next group of graduates will receive the Doctor of Philosophy degree. Catherine Bossart, Department of Microbiology and Immunology, Doctor of Philosophy. Kimberly Burns, Neuroscience Program, Doctor of Philosophy. Major Thomas Saramuga, United States Army, Neuroscience Program, Doctor of Philosophy. Lieutenant Bonnie Chavez, United States Navy, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology, Doctor of Philosophy. Commander Gary Hook, United States Navy, Department of Preventive Medicine and Biometrics, Doctor of Philosophy. Kimberly Kalupa, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology, Doctor of Philosophy. Joe Nielsen, Molecular and Cell Biology Program, Doctor of Philosophy. Specialist Anthony Williams, United States Army, Neuroscience Program, Doctor of Philosophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next portion of the ceremony is devoted to the graduates who will receive the degree Doctor of Medicine. 7 graduates have won special recognition for their scholarship, professionalism, and public service. Lieutenant Colonel Linda Lawrence, United States Air Force Medical Corps, and Commandant of the School of Medicine, will announce the first 3 awards. Descriptions of these awards begin on page 5 of your program.
The Board of Regents Award is the highest honor a graduating medical student can receive. Second Lieutenant Amy Gamble, United States Air Force. Please step forward. The Society of Medical Consultants to the Armed Forces has established an award to be given annually to the medical class valedictorian. This year, the award is presented to 2 recipients by Dr. Alexander Sloan, President of the Society. Second Lieutenant Amy Gamble will accept the first award. The Second Society of Medical Consultants to the Armed Forces Award is presented to Second Lieutenant Shauna Hansen. The Association of Military Surgeons of the United States Award consists of a lifetime membership in the association and a plaque. On behalf of the association, its executive director, Rear Admiral Fred Sanford, Medical Corps, United States Navy, retired, will present the award this year to Ensign Alaric Francis, United States Navy.
I'm now pleased to announce the presentation of the United States Army, Navy, and Air Force Surgeons General Awards. The Uniformed Services University faculty has selected these medical students for recognition of their outstanding academic performance and the exemplary manner in which they demonstrate a commitment toward enhancing the goals of the uniformed service they represent. On behalf of Lieutenant James Peake, Surgeon General of the United States Army, Major General Kevin C. Kiley, Commanding General, North Atlantic Region Medical Command, will present the Army Surgeons General's Award.
On behalf of Lieutenant General James B. Peake, it is my distinct honor and parental pride that I present the Army Surgeon General's Award to Second Lieutenant Kristen Ann Kiley, United States Army.
On behalf of Vice Admiral Michael Cowan, Surgeon General of the United States Navy, Rear Admiral William J. Lynch, United States Naval Reserve, Special Assistant, Medical Department Staff, Bureau of Medicine and Surgery, will present the next award.
On behalf of Vice Admiral Michael Cowan, it is my pleasure to present the United States Navy Surgeon General Award to Ensign Eric Draper, United States Navy.
The Surgeon General of the United States Air Force, Lieutenant General George P. Taylor, Jr., United States Air Force Medical Corps, will present the next award.
It's my pleasure to present the United States Air Force Surgeon General's Award to Second Lieutenant Joseph Stewart, United States Air Force.
Dean Laughlin will now present the William P. Clements, Jr. Award and the Outstanding Civilian Educator Award. Both faculty award recipients were chosen by the graduating medical students. A full description of the awards may be found on page 6 of your program. The William P. Clements, Jr. Award is presented to Lieutenant Commander Mark Stevens, Medical Corps, United States Navy, Adjunct Associate Professor, Department of Family Medicine. Lieutenant Commander Stevens, please step forward. The Outstanding Civilian Educator Award is presented to Martha C. Johnson, PhD, Associate Professor, Department of Anatomy, Physiology, and Genetics. Dr. Johnson, please come forward. The Esprit de Corps Award recipient is selected annually by the members of the graduating class to recognize one of their own. The individual selected is not listed in your program because, by tradition, it's kept secret until this moment. This award is presented by Dr. Richard McDonald, Colonel, Medical Corps, United States Army retired, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and by Colonel John McManigal, United States Air Force Medical Corps, Assistant Dean for Clinical Sciences.
No surprise here, Jamie Reesberg.
Presenters, please be seated. I'm pleased to introduce the president of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine's class of 2003. As his last official act as class president, Second Lieutenant Henry Woods, United States Air Force, will present the medical class farewell address.
Mm-hmm. 2003, Dr. Winkenwerder, Admiral Carmona, distinguished guests and visitors, thank you for coming to our commencement ceremony. There is no finer class of medical students graduating in this nation today. 4 years ago, we came from diverse areas to form this USU family. We left our towns, we said goodbye to family, we said goodbye to friends. We said goodbye to pets, from hogs to dogs, from a pig named Felix to a dog named Donkey. Our adventure began with 2 years of lectures on subjects ranging from anatomy and physiology to ethics and human behavior. We learned from world-renowned teachers as well as local subject matter experts. It was during this period that our spouses periodically told our children, well, Mommy and Daddy do still love you, but their address is going to be 4301 Jonesbridge Road for the next couple of weeks here. During this period, Dr. Bork literally picked our brains and taught us everything we needed to know about neuroanatomy and disease of the nervous system. Dr. Smyrniotopoulos introduced us to Clivus as he taught us about radiographic neuroanatomy. Dr. Johnson, who we just gave an award to, taught us about anatomy and physiology. She said something about bing bongs, but you'll have to ask her about that. I don't know. Dr. Hemming added his expertise and research on the discovery and treatment of RSV to our classroom. Dr. Wechter gently inspired us to give feedback to improve the curriculum. I think we'll do just about anything for free food around here. We've had excellent support staff who've kept the audio and visual systems working properly, just as they have done today. But if all else failed, we had to reach into our own and ask our own David Gordon to come down and take care of things for us. Dave. That's a shout out, Tammy Servies. Now, I hate to mention specific names, but Pete Kreisman and Brad Delinsky also perfected their art of impersonations. My personal favorite was the brigade commander impersonation. Thank you, Colonel Serio. During our final 2 years of medical school, we learned how to care for patients in various hospitals and clinics. Our young active duty service members inspired us with their energy and ambition. They served as a constant reminder that we keep the sword of our nation sharp and healthy. Our retired patients, they inspired us with their wisdom and experience, sometimes a little bit too heavy on the experience. But they reminded us that we serve a group of people in their biggest time of need
who chose to serve our nation in its greatest time of need. Interspersed with our courses, we had various expert instruction in providing medical care in combat or humanitarian assistance environments. Our brigade officers and enlisted personnel utilized their many years of experience of combat medical care to instruct and enrich us. We truly appreciate their dedication and commitment to military medicine, and we now share their passionate desire to provide excellent medical care to those in the service of our country. Admiral Zimble, former Dean Hemming, and Dean Laughlin, we want to thank you for the excellent example of leadership that you've given to us. You've been there for every aspect of our medical experience. You have transcended the title of the office that you hold, and indeed have become the embodiment of the Uniformed Services University. Thank you. We've had a remarkable 4 years filled with personal and professional growth and maturity. We've seen terror strike United States soil, but we are not terrorized. When war with Iraq came, we realized that war is indeed an ugly thing. As we saw the cheers of the liberated Iraqi people, and as our nation greeted our returning prisoners of war and veterans with gratitude, we were reminded that war is not the ugliest of things. We've been involved in humanitarian support missions from Africa to South America, and we've trained from the mountains of Colorado to the islands of Hawaii. We've made lifelong friendships among our USU family. We grew spiritually and integrated our faith with the study and practice of medicine. During this time, we said goodbye to some family members and even friends like Ray Cromer. They continue to inspire us with their enduring love, support, and sense of humor. We have wed and given birth to children, some more than others. These were truly the best of times. We thank our family members and friends for their unwavering support and encouragement when we needed it the most. Mom, I believe you saw this day even when I was at my worst. We now proudly join the ranks of our fellow USU alumni. When duty called, they set the example for us as they deployed by the hundreds to care for our troops. We will add to their tradition of leadership in military medicine, and we will never forget the excellent training that we have received at our university. When our military service is done, we'll continue a legacy of leadership in medicine as we return to our communities. Thank you for celebrating with us, and we wish you all a great USA Day.
At this time, Dr. Larry Laughlin, Dean, School of Medicine, will present the graduates of the Uniformed Services University's School of Medicine program. Dr. Laughlin.
Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty, I recommend to you that degrees of Doctor of Medicine be conferred on the 152 members of the 2003 graduating class. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon the recommendation of the faculty and dean, F. Edward Aber School of Medicine, I hereby confer the degree Doctor of Medicine with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Members of the class of 2003, you swore the oath of Hippocrates as you entered this medical school 4 years ago. It has guided your conduct as students of medicine. Please raise your right hand and swear it again so it may guide your practice as physicians. Repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members. That I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor. That into whatsoever home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well. To the utmost of my power. And that I will hold myself aloof from wrong. And from corruption. And from tempting of others to vice. That I will exercise my art. Solely for the cure of my patients. And the prevention of disease. And will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such thing. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of any person, which is not fit to be spoken, I will keep secret. These I do promise. And in proportion as I am faithful to this oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine. The opposite if I shall be forsworn.
The graduating class has selected Sergeant First Class Kevin Tillman, United States Army non-commissioned officer in charge, brigade operations, to read their names at this ceremony. Will the graduates please come forward?
Dr. Timothy Carl Asel. Dr. Sean Michael Alderman. Boer. Dr. Michael Aluker. Dr. Marco Antonio Alaya. Dr. Megan Marie Bachrock. Dr. Joanne Michelle Valentona. Dr. Nicholas Kevin Batchelor. Dr. Christian Andrew Beebe. Dr. Slava M. Belinki. Dr. John Nathan Berry. Dr. Kenneth Spencer Bodie. Dr. Grant Howard Bonavia. Dr. Pryor S. Brenner. Dr. Lisa Michelle Breslov. Dr. Adam L. Brown. Dr. Dale Clifton Capner. Dr. Corey Allen Carter. Dr. Sandra Lee Castle. Dr. Richard Andrew Catharina. Dr. Laura P. Seavey. Dr. Victor C. Chang. Dr. Ngung Cho. Dr. Nikki K. Conlin. Dr. Daniel Vincent Cordaro. Dr. Mark Stephen Crago. Dr. Amanda Sue Kuda. Dr. Scott Paul Kuda. Dr. Cord Wayne Cunningham. Dr. Brian Christopher Curtis. Dr. Travis Granger Deaton. Dr. J. Michael Dentiman. Dr. Brad Matthew Dolinsky. Dr. Eric Bruce Draper. Dr. Jennifer Caring Drinkwine. Dr. Elizabeth Rorick Duque. Dr. Zachary Ethan Fisher. Dr. Mark Alec Franzos. Dr. Alexander Byron Galifianakis. Dr. Amy Elizabeth Gamble. Dr. Joanna Garnish. Dr. Stephen John Gerke. Dr. Dina Lynn George. Dr. Jeffrey Wayne Gertner. Dr. David Kent Gordon II. Dr. C. Frank Gould. Dr. Elizabeth Ashley Gowdy. Dr. Arthur J. Greenwood. Dr. Catherine Michelle Haddock. Dr. Jasmine Jongyi Han. Dr. Shanna L. Hansen. Dr. Tracy Elizabeth Hardwick. Dr. Mark L. Harshani. Dr. Nadel Malik Hassan. Dr. Bradley William Hickey. Dr. Thomas Richardson Hicks. Dr. Tara Beth High. Dr. Kenesha Renee Hill. Dr. Carrie John Hollenbeck. Dr. Alexander Michael Holston. Dr. Brian L. Holt. Dr. Carrie Ann Hudson. Dr. Craig Jordan Hurt. Dr. Lisa M. Inverso. Dr. Christopher Stephen Jost. Dr. Brian Simpson Johnston. Dr. Michaela James Johnston. Dr. Eric Wayne Catterbeck. Dr. Carlos Conrad Kennedy. Dr. Ronald Jamil Khoury. Dr. Kristen Ann Kiley. Dr. Julianne Kim. Dr. Joshua Titus Kindlin. Dr. Tamara Rolton Kindlin. Dr. George H. Cotty III. Dr. Peter Kreischman. Dr. Alan McCain Crimp. Dr. Jeffrey Thomas Lizek. Dr. Douglas Roy Langford. Dr. Jeffrey Scott LaRochelle. Dr. Grant E. Latin, Jr. Dr. Abigail Jane Lee. Dr. Elizabeth Ann Leonard. Dr. Sean Patrick Leonard. Dr. Philip Ryan Latada. Dr. Delita Watford Lewis. Dr. Henry C. Liu. Dr. Laura Catherine Lucas. Dr. Joseph Michael Luria. Dr. Michael Anthony Madrid. Dr. Robert M. Marks. Dr. Jason Carlisle Massengill. Dr. Sean Patrick McBride. Dr. Camille F. McGann. Dr. Melissa Rosaline McGuinn. Dr. Joseph Christopher McLean. Dr. Michael Roy Milia. Dr. Ethan Andrew Miles. Dr. Luke Michael Miller. Dr. Fuad Joseph Moad. Dr. Arash Momeni. Dr. Todd J. Manzulewski. Dr. Scott James Merson. Dr. Jason Masayo Nakamura. Dr. Joshua Turner Napier. Dr. Naveed Ahammer Naz. Dr. Matthew Needleman. Dr. Timothy J. Neer. Dr. Cameron James Lord Nelson. Dr. Vu Huai Nguyen. Dr. Adam Sanford Nielsen. Dr. Peter Daniel O'Connor. Dr. David Oshalamper. Dr. Matthew Thomas Pena. Dr. Michael James Perry. Poor. Dr. Leonard Edward Philo. Dr. Thomas Arthur Plime II. Dr. Theodore Trevor Redmond. Dr. Julie Ann Reed. Dr. William Wayland Reynolds, Jr. Dr. Jamie Christopher Riesberg. Dr. Owen William Roberts. Dr. Ryan Christopher Rockhill. Dr. Dylan Jason Savard. Dr. Micah Drew Schmidt. Dr. Keith A. Scorza. Dr. Tammy Elizabeth Servies. Dr. Sean C. Schaefer. Dr. Kristen Lee Sylvia. Dr. Michelle Tissing Sit. Dr. Carrie Elaine Slofsky. Dr. James Benjamin Solomon. Dr. Jade Murphy Spurgeon. Dr. Samuel Lindsay Steele, Jr. Dr. Megan Marie Burgess Steigelman. Dr. Joseph J. Stewart. Dr. Gerald Wayne Surratt. Hoorah. Dr. Daniel Matthew Sutton. Dr. Michael Paul Shapansky. Dr. Scott Allen Tebow. Dr. Sarah Nicole Vick. Dr. Tong Huang Vu. Dr. Tara Michelle Walker. Dr. James Yulan Wang. Dr. Eric D. Weber. Dr. Timothy Stephen Welch. Dr. Daniel Mark Williams. Dr. Alan J. Williamson. Dr. Lauren Jacqueline Wolf. Dr. Matthew J. Wolf. Dr. Eli Allen Wolin. Dr. Henry A. Woods, Jr. Dr. Scott Adrian Zagaluzny.
As the last medical degree recipient across the stage, the Uniformed Services University School of Medicine has graduated 3,419 medical officers to join the ranks of the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, and Public Health Services. Additionally, the School of Medicine has conferred 771 basic science degrees, including 69 Masters of Science, 5 Master of Science in Public Health, 421 Master of Public Health, 26 Master of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, 4 Master of Military Medical History, 12 Doctors of Public Health, and 234 Doctors of Philosophy. The Graduate School of Nursing has conferred 194 degrees of science, Masters of Science in Nursing. Congratulations to all of the graduates today. Waiting a moment for all of the graduates to return. Is that you, Dennis? Thank you very much. The United States Marine Band, the President's Own, will now play each of the service songs in the form of a service medley. According to USU custom, as a gesture of camaraderie, it's appropriate, especially in this time when our fellow uniformed comrades are deployed in harm's way around the globe, for all, including civilians, to stand as you are able for the duration of the service medley. Would all now please stand together and remain standing until the band has completed the medley. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please join me in thanking the United States Marine Band for their musical tribute and their presence here today for this ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, having received their doctoral degrees, these 152 members of the Uniformed Services University medical class of 2003 have turned in their academic robes and wear their service uniforms to take their oaths as commissioned officers in their respective service. The surgeons general or their representatives will commission the graduates in their respective branch of service. Major General Kiley.
Well, this is a great Army day. If it ain't raining, it ain't training. And we're here today to bring some great young officers into the Army Medical Corps. Would the United States Army medical graduates please stand? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Welcome to the Medical Corps. Congratulations.
Admiral Lynch.
For the United States Navy medical graduates, please stand. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I have taken this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Welcome to Navy Medicine, officers.
General Taylor.
Will the United States Air Force medical graduates please stand? Congratulations. Although we're here today to celebrate your success in the profession of the healing arts, I want you to never forget that you also are a member of the profession of arms. Fellow airmen, please raise your right arms and repeat after me. I state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Welcome, Medical Corps officers.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction and remain standing for the alma mater.
Please join me in prayer. Dear God, thank you for an absolutely inspiring graduation. For today we have witnessed the splendid minds and the amazing abilities of our graduating students, the enthusiasm and dedication of our committed faculty, and the perseverance and concern of our devoted staff who amidst the muck and the mud have made this ceremony a resounding success. Let us not forget, though, Father, the family and friends of these graduating students, for beside each student there has been a support system encouraging their every step, and for their loyalty and assistance we give you thanks. Now commissioned with spirits of medical service, bless these new healthcare providers, O Lord, that they may forever respond to those who need their healing touch. Bless them all, we pray, in your most holy name. Amen.
The dermatomes, who are joined by members of the graduating class and led by Ensign Ben Olivan, will sing the school's alma mater. The lyrics can be found on page 16 of your program. I present to you the dermatomes. Ladies and gentlemen, as our program draws to an end, we wish to express a very special and heartfelt thanks to the Military Brigade personnel and University civilian staff members who remain largely behind the scenes, but are indispensable in the orchestration and execution of this beautiful graduation ceremony. A round of applause for those individuals. This concludes the commencement ceremony for the class of 2003. Throughout military history, bagpipes have been used to lead the troops into battle. At the request of our graduates, the recessional music today is provided by Mr. Joseph Dellendeck of the Irish Heritage Pipe Band. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you remain standing until the recessional is completed. Dr. Zimble, will you please lead the recessional march?